Right, it's a beautiful evening. Welcome to another edition of Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On today's edition of the show, take a look at all that played out yesterday night in the UEFA Champions League, where Victor Osimhen scored a hat-trick. Not also forgetting that the WTA final is at its hot peak, and I will take you through the results of actions today. The NBA is on, and some of the unlikely names are really topping the conferences. We'll talk about all of that in a jiffy, and then who knows, more stories to come from the Nigeria Premier Football League. All of this will take your fans in the next few moments when we'll be here together for Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Ekpo Temple is my name. I'll be back after now to take you through all of this. Please don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, it's Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network, and it's time to take you through the happenings in the exciting world of sports. Kinsley Manuel joins me this evening to take you through some of these happenings. Welcome, Kinsley.
Thank you very much for having me. Nice to be here.
All right, we'll start with the NBA, and of course, you know that the National Basketball Association in the US is one of the biggest brands when it comes to sporting activities, and the reason is simple. All the franchises doing so well, 30 of the franchises won outside the shores of the USA, that is Toronto Raptors from the Canada. I tell you, the 2025-26 season kicked off a few weeks ago, and it's been hot every day. Unlikely names are topping, except for one team that have shown resilience and have shown that they have what it takes in Oklahoma City Thunders. And we'll take a look at some of the previews of actions in the way the games are played so far as it stands now. And Kinsley, let's look at the NBA and let's delve into some of the happenings in the NBA. When you look at the 2025-2026 season, it looks as though we're going to see some shake-up. We've seen some unlikely results so far. And you look at the tabletop Miami Heat, and then you look at what is happening in the Western Conference, where OKC, they are showing that, come on, we're not just champions, for fluke. We truly deserve, and they are yet to lose games this season. How are you ready to start, at least the 1 month start of the NBA so far, with some of the results you've seen?
I think it's been very, very impressive. You take a look at it. Some teams have lived up to expectations, just like you mentioned. Oklahoma City Thunder, they really live up to expectation. Started where they, stopped. Of course, last season, keep on firing. And of course, what do you expect? I think that momentum is still in them. And of course, they're really ready, of course, to go far once again this time around. We just keep our fingers crossed. Though, for me, I think it's still early days. Don't forget, we still have a lot of games to be played this season. So we'll see if Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, can sustain, the momentum going forward. Another team, of course, I'm looking out for is the Golden State Warriors. They've, been a little bit shaky, when it has to do with them starting this season. I think early hours of today, they lost as well, which of course is not a very good one. They win today, and of course lose tomorrow. That's been the situation of things for the Golden State Warriors, and for me, I don't think that would be a very good one. They have Steph Curry down there, and I think other players should also live up to expectation and trying, of course, to support the man. They can't just be relying on Steph Curry on every match day of course, for him to deliver. So I think other players really have to step up for the Golden State Warriors if they really, of course, want to live up to expectation this season. Also, LA Lakers, yes, they won their game early as of today, and of course, also been a shaky one for them due to the absence of their key man, LeBron James, of course, who is actually injured, at the moment. So a shaky one for them. They've not been that consistent in terms of course, winning. And I think LeBron James' absence also affecting them. But I think it's time for the LA Lakers to see how to build the team away from LeBron James. LeBron James is aging. I think at this point in time, you expect, a little thing, of course, to injure him, a little bit of maybe, a little, anything, of course, at this point you could say could injure the man. So it's time for LA Lakers to see how to build the team away from LeBron James, because I don't think he's going to spend a lot of time, down there. I think he just have a few years, to live at this point in time. So from what we're seeing, I think so far so good. It's been an impressive outing for some of the teams in the Eastern and Western Conference. Still early days for me. I think that there are still other top, fixtures, to watch out for, as well as the progress, of all the teams.
We'll keep our finger crossed on that, and I tell you for sure that the NBA is heating up rightly. Now, for those of you who are basketball lovers, just to mention that this is the 80th season of the NBA, and when a league is 80th in its 80th birthday, it tells you how deep the league have gone. And just to also take you through some of the highlights of the event, this started on the 21st of October, and it will end April next year. A lot of permutation, a lot of preparation. The regular season ends, and they hope that others will come. We also have the NBA Cup that will come in between. Some of these encounter from now till December, and many more to come. Not also forgetting that I did mention earlier, of course, we have 30 teams, in the NBA. Just one outside the shores, which is Toronto Raptors. And of course, if you look at the way teams are played, you need to understand that apart from the conferences, we also have sub, areas. We have the Eastern Conference and we have the Western Conference. But in each of these conferences, like in the Eastern Conference, we have the Atlantic Division. In the Atlantic Division, we have New York Knicks, Philadelphia 76ers, we have Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics, and Brooklyn Nets. If you talk about the Central Division in the Eastern Conference, we have the Chicago Bulls, we have the Detroit Pistons, Cleveland Cavaliers, we have the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Indiana Pacers. These are the outline, and then we also have the Southeast Division in the NBA, and that is the Atlanta Hawks of this world, Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, Charlotte Hornets, and Washington Wizards. So you get to know how they are situated in the various conferences. Now, in the Eastern Western Conference, we have also the Northwest Division and the Pacific Division. Now, teams in the Pacific Division in the Western Conference include the #1 seed in currently topping the table right now, Oklahoma City Thunders. We have Denver Nuggets, we have Portland Trail Blazers, Minnesota Timberwolves, Utah Jazz. In the Pacific Division, we have Los Angeles Lakers, we have Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Clippers, Phoenix Suns, and the Sacramento Kings. I also have the Southwest Division in the Western Conference of the NBA, and we have teams like San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, we have Dallas Mavericks, and then the Memphis Grizzlies. So you need to understand the dimension, the three sub-conferences in each of the conference. Because this is not alien to lovers of football, basketball, because in Nigeria even, we have the Sahara Conference and we have the Atlantic Conference. And then the Atlantic Conference, we also have the South-South based team, we have the Southeast based team, if any, and same thing in the North. We have the North Central based team, we have the Northwest based team, and the Southwest based team. So all of this is just the dynamics of geographical demarcation. So it is in the NBA.
Of course, so it is in the NBA in the United States down there. Of course, the teams, they have their own region, all right? And of course, the They have to come up, from their own region, and then of course we see they form the Western, and the Eastern Conference, at the end of the day. It's really how the NBA, of course, is actually, of course, being organized. We understand bulk of the teams, from the United States of America, just like you mentioned, we only have one outside the United States, which is Toronto Raptors, in Canada. So the teams are coming from different regions, in the United States of America. So United States, if you take a look at it, they owns NBA. They're one side or a country that cherishes NBA, a lot. It is a game they are so passionate about, and that's why you see them do so well even at the Olympic Games. So if you're in the United States of America, you really understand, of course, NBA is, I think, most popular sports, even more than football, down there in the United States. So for me, I think that's the beauty of it, and of course, we'll see, how it goes, talk about this season.
Of course, and a lot to talk about in the NBA. So if you love of the NBA, the season just started. It's barely 1 month since it commenced, and a lot of action because it's everyday thing. And you were asking, why is the NBA being played every day? 83 games in the regular season will be played by each of the 30 teams, and that makes it very difficult. So when you calculate 83 games, I mean, it doesn't come cheap at all. Don't surprise is why they don't have rest. They play like every 24 hours just because they need to meet up. And of course, in between the league, there will be NBA Cup, which makes it even more lovely, and exhibition games, between the seasons. So all of this makes it how they even achieve this sometimes without going on break. For me, I think that we need to always praise the stability of the NBA, and no surprises why it is one of the best league in the world after the English Premier League.
Best league in the world after the English Premier League. I don't really know for that. Maybe arguably to say, talking about the NBA, does it have more followership like the Premier League? When you say best league in the world, what really makes it the best league, in the world? I think we can't even be comparing it with football at this point in time. Let's compare it with other basketball league, all right, in other nations, all right. Spain also have a basketball league. Argentina also has a basketball.
No, before the advent, I think just recently that we have more income from EPL. Players of the NBA even have more fundings. Before the advent of the COVID, players of the NBA, make more money than footballers. It's quite interesting to know that. And the NBA also posts maximum returns as per franchise. So when you look at it, that's why I said, if I say all the leagues, it looks ambiguous and maybe looks, I'm overhyping it. But the NBA and the soccer league in USA, Super Bowl, they make more money than the English Premier League. Yes, if you look at the per income, it's arguable. It's surprising to know that.
It's that's what I'm saying. It's NBA is not football.
It's not. Yes, I'm looking at it as a basketball.
That's what I'm saying. Trying to compare it with football is not fair.
Yeah, it's not as a whole. As a whole, I'm only looking at it from the point of the income generation. Until recently, I mean, how much were they paid? Until recently, nobody earns salary more than at about 300 about. Until recently, But in the NBA, we have seen players before now who earn salary close to about $500,000 US.
Yes, I think for me, you're not far from the truth. The NBA in the United States of America generates, a lot of revenue, as it stands. It generates a lot of revenue. And why does it generate a lot of revenue? It's as a result of the fact that, they have sponsors, massive, sponsorship, to say. And that's why they've been able, of course, to generate massive, a high level of revenue, as it stands. So for me, if you take a look at it, yes, when you talk about, sports that, generate a lot of money, you talk about basketball and directly United States of America, it generates a lot of money at this point in time. So it is a good one, as it stands. I think NBA United States of America generates money more than any other basketball league.
True, in the world. That's correct.
It generates money more than any other basketball league. If you want to talk about, is it even the Canadian basketball league? you talk about, Argentina, maybe any other part of the world. I think
Is it comparable?
you don't go there. You don't go there. Maybe you should talk about Spain.
No,
Alright,
if,
Spain.
if you want to compare the NBA, the revenue accrued from NBA, you compare NBA with the Super League, the
Super Bowl.
In the USA. You compare it with Premier League, because Premier League is arguably the father because of the money that's been pumped in recently by sponsors and the club owners who and that's why you check very well in the English Premier League clubs. Majority of the shareholders are all from the US. Yeah. So because it's a newfound law, people are getting to come, get those things. Before now, it used to be the NBA, so but I think it's lovely to get to see how far the NBA, how big it is, and that is why you see some of their every match day you get to see. It is difficult to see 11,000 spectators in each stadium. If you check each of the match day, like what we saw today, if they will be posting 19,000 in their arena, 19,000 plus. Unlike consistently calculating for 83, match days.
Yes.
If you're going to play maybe 83 divided by 2, I don't know how they do it on an away basis. That tells you, the amount of money that these guys have. So when they play the 3 games, somebody says, wow, it's many. It's all revenue, and their franchises, they divide these funds. And it doesn't come cheap at all to even get to watch the NBA. But I'm loving what is happening in the NBA. I just hope that the players and the teams will live up to expectations. And let's see how it goes. And tomorrow, there will be games in the NBA. Let's just take a review of some of the games. But then, Boston Celtics, of course, continue to show strength. Oklahoma City Thunders also showed why they are not just a fluke. They are the defending champion. They are also doing so well, this season. But they lost to Portland Trail Blazers. This is their first loss of the season, Kingsley.
Yes, I think for me, the first loss of the season, you can't win all right? The games are too many.
Too many, truly.
Win all. Sometimes it happens, and I think possibly maybe their next game, they could possibly, of course, bounce back.
And just those 2 points separated the both sides, 119, 121. Yeah. I know that they were very mad. I remember the game I watched against Rivers United and Lagos Legends, and over time, just 1 point separated the both sides, 71, 70. It can be very painful, because they did all within their power to get to win that particular one. But let's look at tomorrow, and let's tell you that games to expect in the early hours of tomorrow morning in the NBA is just one. Surprisingly, the Phoenix Suns will take on Los Angeles Clippers, 12 a.m. tomorrow morning. Okay, 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I will hope to bring you the results later tomorrow evening. But away from that, let's talk about the dynamics of play in Formula One. This weekend, starting from tomorrow, we'll see some practice session, and it is the Brazilian Grand Prix. Sao Paulo precisely will be the beehive of activity, where Max Verstappen and the McLaren guys will renew their rivalry to determine who gets to top. We hear that the young man, the 2 guys from the McLaren guys are all in for. Piastri has been demoted, but then expectation ahead of the weekend, Kingsley.
A lot of expectation, at this point in time, especially when you take a look at the fact that I think we have about, 4
races to go.
4 races to go at this point in time. The likes of London Norris, and of course his teammate, looking forward to see how to get, of course, win their drivers, title championship, at this time. The man from Red Bull, talking about Max Verstappen, is also fighting for that championship, so it's really going to be a tough one, talking about the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. So we look forward to see how this one, of course, will go down. But it has really been, a little bit of a competitive one. I so much love the way the McLaren guys, took over the season. All right, we thought it was going to be Max Verstappen dominating once again, but this time around, we saw McLaren coming from nowhere, and of course took off the stage. And I really loved it, the way it is at this point in time, because it was looking like Max Verstappen and Red Bull would just dominate all through, but good one for McLaren, coming up when no one, of course, expected them. And of course, as it stands now, they're really, really competing with Red Bull, especially the drivers, as it stands. So this weekend promises to be another exciting one, where Lando Norris, his teammates, and Max Verstappen will be fighting to see how to be crowned, how to, of course, take up the driver's title once again.
But does it in any way, that you have won it before? Because the last year's Grand Prix in Sao Paulo was won by Max Verstappen, And does that in any way conjure the magic that he could pose a threat in at least if he gets to win or get a podium finish, that will slim down the point margin between himself and that of the McLaren guys?
Yeah, if you take a look at it, London Norris is top of the driver's title with 357 points. And Oscar Piastri, of course, still for McLaren, is second down there with 356 points. Max Verstappen is third with 321 points. So if you take a look at it, over 31 points, over 30 points, gap.
If you win, you get 21 points thereabout, and so you see the difference.
So that's the difference. So it is close.
Very close.
It is close and KJ at this point in time. If Verstappen win the next 2-3 races, and then bigger part, yes, Max Verstappen, he win the next 2-3 races, is there. But if Norris, of course, yes, take up
the... It's not just a win, it's a play that when you win, your close rivals don't even get
they don't even get close.
Because the point margin is just 21, 18, just like that.
So for me, winning the last time is not a guarantee it's going to win it this time, especially when you take a look at the situation of things. The McLaren car is very fast and the drivers are doing so well. So last season, of course, you give it up to him because Red Bull was the fastest car last season. But now, this time around, McLaren has taken over, so his history might not repeat itself this weekend for Verstappen and Red Bull.
Well, I'll keep a finger crossed on that, but if you are a Formula One fan, just know that the rivalry is getting heated, and we'll get to see what the guys will bring to the table when they come up tomorrow, for the practice session and a lot there in Sao Paulo. Now, let's take our drive now down to the WTA final in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where the defending champion Cory Kokogov has been hosted out this afternoon, courtesy of a good win from that lady Aryna Sabalenka. It went down very solo. We saw the first one ended in tie break, but the second one was a 6-2 bashing, from Aryna Sabalenka. And the lot of person will tell you that when it comes to commanding the magic of play on the court, especially in the indoor court, give it to Aryna Sabalenka for her fire, for her power, for her resilience, and she is now through officially to the next one.
I said it yesterday that Aryna Sabalenka, of course, will go through. I said it yesterday.
You're playing dice.
but my mind actually said Aryna will go through because when you take a look at the way she has played so far, you want to give it to her. Like I told you yesterday, that when it matters most, Kokogov falls short. That's the thing.
But she was the defending champion.
Yeah, she was the defending champion. She managed to be defending champion last season. So why can't you continue this time around? She's not been consistent. When you talk about Kokogov being very much consistent, we've not seen it. When it matters most, when it's time for her to prove that yes, she's really that lady. Maybe everyone is looking out for, she falters, and that's you've seen it at this point in time. So my problem with Kokogov, she's a very good tennis player, but inconsistency is a problem. Can you be consistent in this tournament, go down to the next tournament, be consistent, to the next one, maybe you get to the finals? No, that's the problem. I don't really know what is the problem. Maybe is it as a result of young age, but I don't think that, of course, should be a yardstick, for her not to, of course, do well at this point in time. That's the problem, inconsistency, for Cory Kokogov. And like I said yesterday, Aryna Sabalenka looked very, very, impressive, with the way she started the competition. Definitely, you know that yes, she's one lady that can go very far, in this one. So we'll just look forward to see how it goes. Down in the semi-final, and it promises to be very much, heated this time.
And the pairing is already out. Aryna Sabalenka went unblemished. Elena Rybakina went unblemished. Aryna Sabalenka will take on Amanda Anisimova, the lady that hosted at Iga Swiatek, number 4 seed, while a certain Elena Rybakina, number one table topper in the other group, the Serena Williams group, will take on her own Jessica Pegula. So you look at this margin, you ask yourself, are we looking at the top players who are well informed in this one to make it to the finals? Because tomorrow the semi-final is on.
On paper, if you want to predict this, you will say Elena Rybakina and Sabalenka in the finals. But anything can happen. You might see upset coming from Jessica Pegula. You might see upset coming from Anisimova. So you don't just see Sabalenka being impressive, Elena, so they might go to the final. But so that's how it is. So we expect a very blockbuster. I expect to see upsets. All right. I expect probably to see Arena Sabalenka being beaten, or you know, in this one. Let's just see how it goes.
All right, Arena Sabalenka. I mean, she's yet to win this particular one. This has eluded her, and just maybe she thinks that she can get her hand on this one.
Extra motivation, looking at the fact that she has done one it before, so she wants to do everything she can, you know, to get to the final. But if you take a look at the impressive run of Elena Rybakina, she's been so clean, you know, in the competition from the games we've seen so far. So if eventually Sabalenka gets to the final, I think she's going to possibly have, you know, Rybakina to contend with if she gets to the final as well. So it might be a difficult one, but I think not winning it might be an extra motivation for her.
I fear Anisimova most because it's going to be just the way she had against. I know she lost to Arina Sabalenka in the finals of the U.S. Open. She was beaten by double bagel by Iga Swiatek some time ago in the French Open. But I'm just thinking that in the Wimbledon, I'm just thinking that someone who has beaten you with the level of motivation that she's got, when she plays Arina Sabalenka, though Arina Sabalenka has shown that her consistency is all round, you know, you don't beat her 2 times. But I'm thinking that anybody who will, where an upset will come from, might just be Arina Sabalenka, because we've seen her. She's gotten to like 8 finals. I mean 8 semi-finals, finals. But in some of those semi-finals, she was also there by players that we never believed that she would also that. Even Cody Gogov won her in the finals of the French Open. So you begin to ask a lot of questions, you know. But like you said, we keep our finger crossed and see how far. We just hope that the cookies don't get crumbled against Arena. I actually want to see her win, because she has already put in a lot of fight. And as world number 1, we're going to see her. And the guys are already warming up for 9th from Sunday. We're going to see a showdown from the ATP.
Yeah, we're going to see a showdown from the ATP. The big boys, I think, will take up center stage once again. Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner, Novak Djokovic, Zverev, and the rest of them. We'll see what, of course, they bring to the table this time around. I know so many persons might want to tip maybe Yannick Sinner or maybe Alcaraz to take off the stage, but you never can tell. We might just see some surprises as well, just like we've seen so far in the WTA final. So we expect interesting fixtures, in the ATP finals as well.
Expect interesting fixtures in the ATP finals, and I tell you, when it's like this, you can just keep your finger crossed and you can believe what will just happen. But can still go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll just talk about the UEFA Champions League games and then a preview of the Europa games as well as Conference League games to watch out for this evening. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. I mean, if you joined us earlier, we talked about Formula One. We talked about what is happening in the NBA, the new season, and then we'll also talk about the WTA finals, as well as how actions and results from today's encounter in the Steffi Graf group. All is set now for the semi-final starting tomorrow. So we'll see the top players who gets to the final. Yellow Submarines of Villarreal, because we saw them go to Cyprus and they got beaten. That was remarkable in its own sense, because Power Force came into this particular one. A lot of people are asking, who is Power Force? Who are this team? What do they stand for? But somehow we've seen, I mean, a story that is very touching in the direction of things. And that victory yesterday marked their first victory in the UEFA Champions League. Had it not been for the fantastic display of Victor Osimhen, these are the kind of team that you want to give sports extraordinary.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, of course, you want to really give them, to make them the sport extraordinary on the show. The team, of course, talking about Pafos, was founded in 2014. I think they were able to win their first trophy. Is it the 2024-2025 season as well? And of course, yesterday they won their first ever UEFA Champions League, game. So you take a look at their journey. I tell you, it's been massive, progress, for Pafos. And if they continue like this, they'll be a force to reckon with when it comes to do with, European football, just like we've seen. So for me, I think was a very, very brilliant performance. Nobody gave them a chance, yesterday when they were paired, of course, against Villarreal. Nobody gave them that, chance, as it stands. So I think we're beginning to see some of these, smaller teams, showing tenacity. 2 weeks ago, Go Ahead Eagles did something incredible against Aston Villa. I think that was their first
win.
Yes,
in Europe.
In the Europa League. I was very, very surprised. So you could see that some of these teams, are beginning to step up. The other day, yesterday, we also saw the likes of Amartey struggling so hard against, Inter Milan. I think Milan have to, ride on luck, of course, to get that win. 2-1 ended yesterday. So some of these things that are coming up are really, really showing strength. And Pafos, of course, showed that much, strength yesterday by beating Villarreal 1-0 yesterday in the UEFA Champions League.
Quarterback player to draw with Chelsea, and this continues to elicit some question why Chelsea should. But like you said, some of these teams will expect quarterback with experience. They can prove their biddings.
Yes, of course. You don't. Karabakh, they've not. If you take a look, even their domestic league, they've not done so badly. So, if you want to take them for granted, it's your own career at this point in time. Maybe Chelsea maybe underrated them yesterday, and that's why, of course, we saw them, of course, putting up that impressive, performance. They were leading Chelsea. Chelsea have to come from behind, to equalize, to play a 2-2 draw, yesterday. That's to tell you how these teams, of course, some of these teams that you don't even rate, could actually perform, at the end of the day. So it was a very impressive ball for Karabakh, but I think Chelsea should watch it. They have to keep up that consistency if really they want to achieve, something huge this season.
And the big one yesterday at Amsterdam, the Cruyff Stadium, we saw what transpired there. Galatasaray, I mean, was it yesterday, Wednesday, when we talked about it, and I was asking, if Galatasaray will get to, you asked the question how this game will pan out. I did mention that, yes, Victor Osimhen's effect and syndrome will play a whole lot, but Ajax playing at home, I would have expected them to show some respect to their fans. Unfortunately, Osimhen took over the show, and it looks like the Ajax of 2019 is still far from what they have right now.
Yeah, still very far. Ajax have not been that very much, formidable. They started very well in that game yesterday. I think first half ended goalless. They came back and couldn't hold their own. Osimhen rally round, of course, perjuring the defense, and all of that, getting that goal, and as well as scoring 2 penalties, of course, yesterday. Was a lovely display, especially from Galatasaray, who has showed more tenacity. We've seen Galatasaray play the likes of Bodo Glimt, Tottenham Hotspur. We've seen them play Liverpool. They've been putting up some high level of performance against, top teams in Europe, and that will tell you that, they are gradually building something very huge, especially with their key man, Victor Osimhen. So for me, I think was a very, very dogged performance from them, and that was why they were able, of course, to overpower, Ajax, yesterday. For Osimhen, I tell you, it's been a brilliant one. So far, so good. 6 goals, in the UEFA Champions League this season. Highest goal scorer in the UEFA Champions League is ahead of Erling Braut Haaland, is ahead of Harry Kane, and also the man Kylian Mbappe. And one will ask the question: can he end, of course, the season, being the highest goal scorer and winning the Golden Boot in the UEFA Champions League? Possibly, if Galatasaray, of course, go far, in the competition. I think the man has been in a sensational form. And you ask yourself, why didn't Premier League teams actually seek his services during the just concluded transfer window? Maybe they didn't see this potential, and thank God that Osimhen is proving himself to the world once again, because so many persons doubted his ability. Osimhen is not a player that you need to pass the ball to before he scores, but you see him running around in the field, hustling for the ball to make sure that he gets a chance to score. So he's not just a player that waits in the 18-yard box. He comes out, struggle with the ball with his teammates, and as well trouble the opposition, and that's what you expect from a striker. So for me, it's really been an impressive one. I would just hope that the man continues in this impressive fashion.
And of course, we hope that at this point now, with all this magical display, I don't think that that will also play a role in terms of the CAF award that is coming up soon.
Yeah, I think it will, but I think the CAF award is between what's your perform. They will actually
look at the previous season and national team.
From January, I think, to September or October. That's what they're looking at for at this point in time. So it's going to boil down to what you've done. But Osimhen is a strong contender for the award this time around. Osimhen, you talk about Mo Salah and Hakimi, as it stands. So I think he also stand a good chance. Won the domestic league, won the Turkish league as well. Was the highest goal scorer in the league. Scored over 30 goals as it stands.
4 goals.
He had a very good chance as well. I understand Hakimi, also stand a good chance looking at the fact that he won the Champions League, Super Cup, won the domestic league, the French League One, had a lot of trophies in his cabinet last season. So you could say it could be a strong one between Osimhen and Hakimi. But let us see what will come up. It's going to be by votes. I think it's not going to be by, let's say, awarding them. It's going to be by votes. So we'll see who gets it at the end of the day.
Club Brugge played at the trio door with Barcelona, and I'm not sure that a lot of Barca fans were very happy. They came back. They came 3 times, behind to get the equalizer.
Poor performance from Barca. Poor performance. I didn't expect them to struggle like that, against Club Brugge. Yes, Club Brugge actually shows strength, but I expected Barca to have played very well. This is the thing. I don't know if maybe that is how the team is being built. They have defensive issue. The second goal was a counter, and it was as a result of defensive lapses. If you take a look at the goals, you know that the Barca defense has always been a problem for them. Last season, that was how they were ousted by Inter Milan. Still defensive issue in the semi-final. And this season again, we're seeing them having that defensive issue again. So I don't really know what they need to do. And one of their key defenders actually left the side, and they couldn't have a good replacement. Nego Martinez left, and we've not seen appropriate replacements, for him. So this defensive issue is really a very huge burden at this point in time for FC Barcelona. The midfield is a bit okay. We talk about the attack, though we still await the return of Rafinha, as it stands. But that defense has been a problem right from the days of Messi. Barca have not been formidable in defense, even in
That's correct.
having a good goalkeeper as well. They're good in the attack, in midfield.
Offensively, they pay for the defense.
Yes, they don't pay much attention to the defense, and it has been affecting the team. Seriously, last season they would have gotten to the finals of the Champions League. It was as a result of defensive lapses that they conceded at a very at the dying minute of that game against Inter Milan. So I think maybe as a flick, if he can change this narrative, it will be a good one for FC Barcelona going forward.
Manchester City demolished Borussia Dortmund 4-1 in that encounter. I myself, I wouldn't have believed that, but the Haaland effect and the guys are turning up on daily basis. It looks like the Manchester City that we know.
I don't think Dortmund came to play that match yesterday. They were not fantastic.
At all. I watched that game too.
They were just playing at the back, passing the ball around at the back. When you have, deadly strikers and midfielders of Manchester City that are looking like a team, that are trying to get back their mojo. Haaland is there, Foden is there.
Yeah.
What are you passing the ball at the back? You're not Arsenal. You're not Barcelona. That you say, okay, you know how to rotate the ball in the back. You try to force the ball out. Look at for way to maybe go on the counter and try to see how to create those chances. You're passing the ball at the back. I think that for them, they actually did not they didn't live up to expect. I was so disappointed with that performance, from them.
Atlanta traveled to Marseille and they got a 1-0 win over the team. Newcastle United at home too defeated the Athletic Club, and that was a consolation for their loss against West Ham over the weekend. And of course, let's move straight to some of the games to expect this evening in the UEFA Europa League, where some actions need to be. You go out there and get to watch some of these games. Barca will take on Romanian FCSB, Dinamo Zagreb versus Celta Vigo. FC Midtjylland will take on Celtics. FC Salzburg versus Go Ahead Eagles. FC Utrecht will take on Porto. Lille will travel to play against Red Stars Belgrade. Memo FF versus the Greek side Panathinaikos, and then Freiburg will travel to France to play Nice. Sturm versus Nottingham Forest, and Aston Villa will take on Maccabi Tel Aviv. Many more games to expect tonight. Kinsley, thank you so much. But like you said, Victor Osimhen, no doubt, our sports extraordinaire this evening, and I think truly well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved, and of course we wish him all the best. We just hope that he continues with this.
This is even coming like very timely for Nigeria as they prepare for the playoffs.
Yeah, next week the playoff comes up, and we hope that Osimhen will come and score the goals, because that's what we need to qualify. It's also unfortunate that today we got to report that FIFA has appointed 4 South African referees to officiate that game. I will ask, why South African referees? Why South Africa? South Africa does not like Nigeria. Even the sport minister said that he doesn't want Nigeria to qualify for the World Cup.
But I don't think that they will be unfair enough.
You never can tell. They don't like Nigerians.
But they have qualified now.
That's the thing.
They have qualified.
They might not want us to qualify.
We'll give a bigger cross on that, and let's see how it goes. Many thanks for being part of the conversation. From us here, Ekpo Temple is my name, Kinsley Emmanuel, and the guys behind the scene putting all of this together. We'll say have a lovely evening. Tomorrow we're back for the Friday edition of the show. Until then, have a blissful night. Go watch these games, but remember, it is one game, football without violence. Bye-bye.